So I think a couple things you brought up. You brought up legacy a couple different times. Coming from the farm being, given to you, and then now you're talking about potentially your kids and Tyler's kids picking up this new farm of watches moving forward. So, like, how do you guys currently? I mean, I think your parents are also in advertising as well, right? So they were like you said, mad men, mad women. That's a different state of mind versus where you are right now. So I want to talk about like your family life and your current work life. Like, what's that work life balance looking like for you currently?
Yeah, so one of my friends, his name's Kyle Depius. He wrote a book called Guys Trip. He does these really cool trips for guys that you might imagine that's what he does. Um, and he talks about that a lot in terms of work life balance, but he calls it work life integration. And I like that way of looking at it because to be transparent, I have zero balance. There's no balance going on over here. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So my partner, her name's Lindsay. We have two little boys, Sawyer and Wesley. And she is also an entrepreneur, and she understands me. She understands that it's hard to turn my brain off and stop thinking about work. And just like we've talked about with Tyler and that partnership, she and I have had our own little roller coaster going, and we've been through hell and back. Trying to figure this out and figure out how to work with each other on a day to day basis. And um, the biggest thing that's worked for me in that partnership and the partnership at home and trying to be a good dad, even though I want to work all the time, is just focus on everything I just said, right? Like if you keep the idea of balance and, like I said, I would say integration in your mind all the time, and you keep thinking about it and keep it top of mind, you'll never forget it. So I just posted a reel on Instagram last night, and I don't know if it'll show you here, but my son Sawyer is right on the front of my lock screen on my phone, right? Like doing things like that to help you remember why you're doing all this stuff. Like, yeah, we can make a ton of money as entrepreneurs. That's great. We can surround ourselves with awesome humans helping us build these things. But what happens when you die? What if I get hit by a bus tomorrow? Like, my sons can take this company and run it. Like Tyler and I are building awesome systems,
Mhm.
and Lindsay and I are building awesome like family systems. We have a trust. We have all kinds of LLCs going on. We have living wills. What happens if one of the planes I'm on all the time goes down? Like we think about that stuff, and it's hard to think about that stuff. It's hard to have those conversations. But if you keep it top of mind of like, why am I doing all this stuff? You'll be reminded to have those conversations. And then you can set up consistent ways to force yourself to have those conversations. One being Lindsay and I do a date night every Friday night, no matter what. We get a babysitter, they watch the kids, and we go to dinner and we talk about all the things we should have talked about the whole week. Sometimes we talk about nothing. Sometimes we talk about the show we're binging on Netflix. And sometimes we have a hard conversation about money, and everything in between. So I don't know if that's helpful, but that's what we do, and it works for us. And it hasn't always worked for us. It's a moving target, but so far so good.
Nice, nice.